Okay. Ooh, I feel a little bit rusty, actually.
100%.
Okay. I feel like you're like closer, and I don't like that I look like smaller and further away from you. So I'm gonna scoot up.
You're
Okay,
right.
cool.
Better.
Uh, okay, not What's good, everybody? What's going on, man? It's Stephen Qualls II, aka Mr. Qualified. It's your boy, and we're back with another episode of the Right Quality, man. Emilio, go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
You've done it already. I can't believe you're trying to get this to stick. Miguel, once again, let's get it. It's been a lot of basketball since we've last talked.
Absolutely. It's definitely been a lot of basketball, a lot of just interesting news around basketball and the league in general. So we're in a great part of the season, though, Miguel. We're in a great part of the season. We're in the thick of it, the last 20 games of the season. Every game is important. Almost every game seems to have playoff and seeding implications. And
Everything
so
has meaning now.
we have a lot of teams that are either they're fluctuating within that playing situation, if not also fluctuating on the bubble of getting into the play-in. So I have 9 teams that are kind of fall into that category, and we're going to talk about if we think they're going to miss or make the playoffs. That work?
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm ready.
First team, the Raptors.
Ooh, sitting at 32 and 33.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I feel like they will make the playoffs. Nick Nurse is too good of a coach, unfortunately, to keep them away from it. And I think the addition of Jakob, they look a little bit more polished offensively. They have a big that they can service that I think they were lacking. Like Boucher is like a 5, but he's rail thin for the
Yeah.
league. I feel like getting him back is a plus for them. So I feel like, yeah, they make the playoffs. Especially, I mean, they'll have some tough games there with the Hawks Heat in there, but they'll slide in there with like an 8-7 seed.
Yeah. So I'm thinking with them sitting at 9 right now, the Wizards, I want to say the Wizards are the next team we're going to talk about, or they can be the next team that we talk about. But the Wizards are behind them. They're a game up on the Wizards, 3 games up on the Pacers and the Bulls, respectively. And I don't think that either of those 3 teams are playing well enough or have shown that they're going to put together a stretch of games where they can challenge Toronto, because Toronto, we said this all season. Toronto's not a team that's not talented. They just haven't really been able to win games, and they've dealt with injuries, throughout the entire season as well. So I think that they definitely make the play-in. I think that they probably, well, it all depends on if they can move up a little bit more before the end of the season. But I think they get into 8. Like you said, I think they're too well coached, and I think that if they're healthy and the talent has a chance to get a string of games under their belt. And do you think they're a tough out? If we agree that they make it, do you think they're a tough out for one of those top seeded teams?
It depends on the matchup, Like I watching like the couple of Bucks games that they've had against them this year. It's like we had a lead on them and then they blew a 20-something point lead in the last 2 minutes. Like defensively, they can really stack up with any team in the NBA. They have like rangy guys that can board and score, but it's up to like their younger guards, like in uh Gary Trent, and then Van Vliet. They need to like produce if they're really going to make it. And Van Vliet had a great like stretch when he had Kawhi with him, and one of the best series that we've seen from him. He dotted up Eric Bledsoe for like 80% from 3,
Yeah,
but ridiculous. But they could definitely make a push. I feel like they are too well coached. Like I said, they'll make it.
I agree. I agree. The second team, the Wizards that we just mentioned, Do we think that they'll make or miss? I think that they ultimately miss. They're sitting, like I said, they're sitting 10 right now. And if they have to play 2 games to get in, I don't know if I trust them to win 2 games.
No, no, I think the Wizards, yeah, they're a weird team. Like I can't really say they're playing right now. Like I had the stream up. I'd switched to Knicks Boston because it was streaming, so I didn't want to sit here and fiddle the whole time. But like for the first quarter that I saw, team construction is just like awkward to me. Like DeLon Wright, Porzingis, Beal, Kuzma, uh, trading Rui and just having like I don't know,
Yeah.
just not talent that's going to produce on a night to night basis. Like no, no, and who is their coach? Sorry, this should be a
This
the
this should be
basketball
something
guys should know, but like
you should know, but I don't know who their coach is.
it's Wes Unseld Jr.
Right, because that was a thing. Yes. Okay. Also don't think that's his fault though, because this is not his first or like second year coaching them anyway.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, that's just more about the construction of the team. But yeah, I don't think they're strong enough
Corey
to
Kispert, Kendrick Nunn, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're not strong. If they're not gonna place, even no matter where they placed, well, no, that's different. If they place in 7 or 8 and only have to win 1 game, you truly never know. And they could probably get a game if it's the first game to get like to solidify the spot. But if they have to play 1 game to get the game to get in, I don't know if they can put together 2 in a row. So
No.
I would say
In
no.
March, Johnny Davis could produce, but alas.
Indeed. Next, Bulls.
Man, the Bulls are a weird team too. They just need to pack it in. Like, make no moves at the deadline. Zach LaVine and DeRozan are definitely talented enough. Vooch, inconsistent. Lonzo's shut down for the season. You got Caruso and Pat Bev. I don't see it, so I'm gonna say no. Team construction is too funky. They're losing to the Pacers in these games that they need to win, so they're just, sharks in the water devouring each other.
Yeah, I don't think the Bulls get in. They aren't winning games consistently enough for me to feel like out of their last 20, they're gonna win 15. When 15 is like the minimum you would need to even stay in the hunt, because they're just consistently falling out of the picture at this point because they can't string together what seems more than 2 or 3 wins at a time. So,
Yeah.
so I'm going to say no. And again, I don't think they're a team that can win 2 consecutive. Even if they did get to 10, I don't think they're a team that can win 2 consecutive games to get in. It's
Yeah.
even in whatever that play-in would look like. Because if the play-in is going to include the Heat, we'll get to the other teams. Let's just say we agree that the Bulls more than likely
Well,
won't
no.
get. Okay. Blazers. Let's move out west.
Let me scroll down. 13. Oh man, they're behind. They're with the Thunder. Oof, that's tough.
It's tough, but they're also still only a half a game out of the play-in. Well, a game and a half, sorry.
Yeah. I
Okay, so here's where I'm at,
I'm
right?
looking. I'm looking really hard.
So here's where I'm at. They have the Thunder before them, the Lakers, the Pelicans, and the Jazz.
So
I don't
let's
really
take
think
the Thunder out of the equation. They're essentially the 12. The Thunder just have the tiebreaker.
fair. Okay, I'll give you that. Let's just consider
The
them 12.
Thunder.
So, so
So
I
then
say okay.
and the Lakers battling.
Right. So here's my thing. I don't because of the Clippers' talent, they just unfortunately haven't been able to string together wins either. But I don't think they're gonna fall out of 10. I mean, they could continue to lose games and easily fall out. I just don't see that happening, seeing as they're mostly healthy. So
Yeah.
so the Trailblazers are battling with the Thunder, the Lakers, the Pelicans, and the Jazz. All of those teams, I feel like are in the same boat of like winning consistently. Like none of them win consistently enough to pull away. So it's really going to come down to who can just get the right wins at the right time. And we're talking about a matter of a half a game, and who's going to have the tiebreaker. And a lot of these teams actually will play each other in this last about month of the season. So it's hard. I really don't know with the Blazers. Can they win? Can they win games?
They definitely can, but Dame is he's been historic as of recently, like 71. Like he has been pretty much at 35. Like his betting lines are ridiculous. It's like, over under 38. I'm like, what? Like that's insane. Like he's been on a tear and they're still on the 13 spot. Like it would take the Jazz and the Pelicans both to kind of fall back down to earth, and then they would need to take a couple big games this year. But I'm going to take a shot and say, yeah, Dame still finds a way. Dame is going to have to keep playing at this level. I feel like pride's going to take over. And I don't know. The Jazz have played their best stretch, and they're only, a couple games ahead there. So, yeah, I'm going to say they make it. That's my one bold take.
I'm not betting against Dame, but I've also seen that Dame is just not enough. Even in the regular season, he's just not enough. And with Simons has his ankle injury now, so he's not on the court, and we don't know when he's going to be back and like fully ready to go. That makes Grant their second option, and very, very solid player. Like I like Grant as a player, but him as
is Nurk out for the whole season? Wait, hold on. I
don't know if Nurkic is out, but I haven't heard anything about him coming back, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. So it's a thing where the fight to 10 even is going to be such a dogfight, because even as all the teams mix and fall or whatever the case may be, how many tiebreakers does Portland have against some of these teams? Like they're literally 13 right now because they don't have the tiebreaker, to the Thunder. Do they have the tiebreaker over the Lakers? I can't remember. I'm not sure. Do they have the tiebreaker over the Jazz? I think they may have split their season series from what I can remember. But we're going to be coming down to point differentials and stuff at this point to get to 10. And I don't know, but I think I don't know, man. I think the Blazers are out. I think they're out.
Yeah, no, you that's statistically you're looking more sound than I. That we need clicks. That's the title. Blazers making the playoffs? Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark. Boom.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. We're definitely going to get the clicks off of that. But I like that. Okay, next team, T-Wolves. They'll be in. They'll be in for sure. I don't think the T-Wolves have a chance to not even be in the play in.
Yeah.
And I don't think, even if they are 7 or 8, well, I would be extremely surprised if they fall in this.
You want to know? Hold on. So that's what my eyes were seeing. If the Blazers were to make the playoffs, it would take them. They would be the team to fall out. And I don't want to upset my Minnesota friends either. But for one to be true, I need the other to be so too. So I think they could fall. Where's Cat? I don't know what his.
I was gonna say. So Cat not being back and us not really having word on what that means or when he'll be back is concerning, yes, but also they've been playing some decent basketball, some really, really, really good basketball. Anthony Edwards has been pretty damn good this season. Gobert is Gobert. I just say that he's going to do what he does.
That's really it.
That's really
what concerns me.
But also I wouldn't think a realistic fan has expectations of him to do more. But even for the sake of this team, for the Wolves, they're solid and they have leadership. I think that Mike Conley is a great leader. So I'm imagining having Cat back with somebody like Mike Conley, who is a true point. So now we can get it. He can distribute. It's not like with D'Lo where they were trying to figure out who's the lead guard, who can run
Yeah.
this team.
They're looking for him to produce when like they needed someone to feed into, these bigs that could be successful. And I think having him paired with Rudy, someone that's played with him for how long now. So smart.
Yeah, yeah. So, but because of that, I just don't see. I don't see them tanking that hard. I don't see them losing. I don't see them losing games at that rate to where they'd have to lose more than half of their games. And I mean, maybe, but I just don't see it the way they've been playing. So I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet my money on Minnesota losing that many games for Portland to get in. But I also don't bet my money on Portland winning enough games. So I don't think it's a matter of, Portland's winning, but like Minnesota will have to lose. Like I just don't think Portland can win. But I think the T-Wolves are a lock. Like I said, I think they can potentially avoid the play-in even if they can maintain where they are right now.
Yeah, I feel that.
But so do you think they're out, or are you just saying you want them to be out for the Blazers to be in?
This is the second time I'm going to just say something for clicks, whether it's true or not. It's for the audience to decide. But I'm gonna say they're out.
Yee. All right.
Yeah. So that's the title now. Boom. We went from one to the other. Big timestamp those two. Those will be big moments. I got you.
Okay, got you. The Hawks.
Let me scroll back up.
They're currently 8.
Oh, they just signed Quinn Snyder.
Yes.
Is that official now?
That's official.
I feel like coaching changes are a little bit easier to institute than player changes this season. I think matchup wise, they'll probably make it. They'll make it, even though they've been weird this year. Like I don't understand what's been going on with them. Trey's not an all-star. Like a lot of these things, like about them, like I have questions about. But historically, I feel like they'll still carry, especially like him and now having Deontay there. It's just a little bit more balanced for him. So I'm gonna say they make it.
I'm going to say that they don't. I don't think they make it.
Interesting.
So they're currently sitting 8th, and they're a game and a half behind Miami. Okay. Miami is catching somewhat of a stride. I mean, they're still not necessarily super impressive, but I think they're finding a little bit of rhythm. And I trust Miami to win more games than I do Atlanta. And so what that means is Atlanta will be battling Toronto, Washington, Indiana, and Chicago. And I don't trust the Hawks more than I trust either of those teams, to be completely honest, even with Trey. And that's not a disrespect to the type of player that Trey is, but his level of play hasn't elevated the Hawks at all this season.
Yeah.
So I think even if they get into the play-in situation, if their first play-in game is Miami at 7-8, I'd take Miami, which means they're going to have to play what would be the winner of Toronto and Washington, or maybe it's Toronto and Indiana, and they're going to have to play the winner of that game. And against either of those teams, it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. So I don't think they get in. I haven't seen the play elevated enough, so I think they're out. I think the Hawks are out.
Damn. All right.
More clicks. Okay, Pacers.
Fair.
Pacers.
I also see another one flipping. I just, this is definitely bias. This is definitely internal bias. But, no. Oh, that's tough. No. I'm going to say no. I want to be a hater. I want to be a hater because if you ask about the Heat, I was going to say they don't make it and the Pacers do. But I'm going to say the Pacers don't make it. Because, I mean, they're just I don't know. But do they make it into that 10 spot over the Wizards? Matchup-wise, do they face Toronto better? No, they're out. I say if they even do make it to the play-in, they lose to the Raptors in that first play-in spot.
I agree. I think they're out for that reason. I think that they just don't have a favorable matchup with the best case scenario where they'll probably land. Because even if for whatever reason they jumped and got to 8, because I don't think they're going to catch Miami, but if they jumped and got to 8, they still got Miami. Now, I'm not saying Indiana wouldn't put up a fight against Miami, but I wouldn't put my money on Indiana taking that game. I still don't see them. I think they're still going to have to go through the Raptors regardless anyway, and I don't see them beating them either. So yeah, I think they're on the outs. I think they're going to end up being on the outs, which only sucks because they were actually in the middle of the pack before Halliburton got hurt, and ever since, and they fell so far with him being hurt that even with some of the games they've been able to put together, it's just an extremely high climb to like be safe. So yeah, but I think they're out.
So
Lakers.
And
I want them to be
the win that changes the Lakers season. This is the win that does it. Golden State today. Every game is the game that changes the season. But I think they got it. They're gonna hold the ship down with LeBron out, get like a little bit over 500 without him in the play, and then he's gonna come back. He'll will it out. So he can't miss out on the year that he passed Kareem. The NBA won't allow it.
I completely agree with you there. I wholeheartedly 100% would bet all the money I have agree that the NBA would not allow that to happen.
Come on now.
So let's do this then, right? So these are the next. Let's do the next 10 Laker games, right?
Yep.
They're in the middle of a homestand right now, right? So they have the Grizzlies at home. They have the Raptors at home.
Win.
And they have the Knicks at home.
Lose.
Okay. They have the so that's 3. They have the Pelicans.
Win.
The Rockets.
Win.
The Mavs.
I feel like the Mavs are going to be upset from the one that they dropped against them, so they win that one. But the Lakers lose, sorry.
The Magic.
Win.
The Suns.
Lose. Oof.
The Thunder.
Shea was giving them buckets last time. You say they lose to them.
And then the Bulls.
They win that one.
So what? That's 6-4. Would you say 6-4?
Is that good enough to take it?
I don't know, man. But what's so interesting is it could be.
Yeah, the Pelicans are essentially the same record, and same with the Jazz. They're
a half a game. They're a half a game out of 9, and 1.5 games out of 8, and only 2 games out of 7.
That's too close.
And and like I said, every game has implications. So if the Mavs have to play the Kings, or if the Mavs have to play the Nuggets or the Grizzlies, you start looking at team schedules, it's like you could have a team that got a stretch of games where they play 3 or 4 contenders in a row. And if they lose 3 out of 4, and if they lose 3 out of 4, then you just drop 3 or 4 seeds potentially. So it could. I'm gonna say they're in because when Anthony Davis plays basketball the correct way and stays healthy, he can carry an NBA team.
Yeah.
When he does that, he can carry an NBA team. He has to do it over a stretch of games. If he has a stretch of games like he did in the beginning of the season, they can for sure get in.
100%.
And I think they can still do it, and they have a good shot without being 100% healthy. Obviously, LeBron more than likely won't be playing until April at the earliest, early April, like the last week or 2 before the playoffs. I don't know what's going on with D'Lo. Honestly, I didn't think the ankle injury was that serious, but he hasn't returned yet. So if they can string together some wins before they even get D'Lo back, because I still think that's a huge bump. But if they can maintain and stay in that 9-10 range until LeBron is back, Because if they get in at, even if they get in at 8,
It'll be scary.
that's going to be a tough matchup for the Nuggets.
That's tough.
Like
Yeah.
that's
Let
going
them
to
out
be
last
very.
time. Let them out in the bubble.
It's gonna be a very rough first round matchup. Like as a 1 seed, I would hate for that to be my 1-8 matchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Have to
want it.
play the new roster for the Lakers healthy.
No.
I would not want to see that in the first round if I'm the Nuggets, and only because I'm still not 100% sold on the Nuggets.
Oh yeah, no.
So,
Playoff time, man. Playoff time.
so I'm gonna say they're in. I agree with you. I'm gonna say they get in. However it pans out, they get in. It's
Yeah.
Odds are truly in their favor. They don't have to do. They're not catching up at this point. They just have to maintain. They have to win now. They just have to win. You don't have to. It's not about catching up. You're in the thick of it. Just win. Have to win.
That's it. Night to night. It's game by game.
Have to win. So the last team is the Jazz.
I think with the season that they've had, they've played great. They've played team basketball. Youth will be their downfall. You know, I love Walker Kessler. I feel like he's a great player. I like everyone on their team like buys in, but I feel like they'll have a close game and it's just going to be kind of like that. I don't know. I feel like they miss out. Yeah, I think they miss out.
Yeah, they're out. I think they're out only because, well, I don't know how tough their schedule is. I would have to look because the Jazz's next 10 games are the Mavericks, the Magic, the Hornets, the Heat, the Celtics, the Kings, the Blazers, the Bucks, the Kings again,
Yeah,
and the Suns.
yep.
So
They got oof.
that's a bit rough. That next 10 is a bit rough.
Yeah,
That's a bit rough. I think the Mavericks could be a loss. I think the Magic is probably a win. The Hornets are probably a win. Up in the air about Miami. They're probably going to lose to Boston. The way Sacramento's been playing, they're probably going to lose to Sacramento. They may beat the Blazers. I don't think they beat the Bucks. Kings up in the air again, but I don't think they beat the Suns.
Suns, yeah.
I think they're going to fall out. I think they're going to fall out though. I think within there, I think they're because they can't really afford to lose more at a time.
And they faced the Lakers twice before the end of the season in April, when Bron is quite possibly back.
Oh God! Yeah, they face them within a week. So
that's tough, and that's for the end of the season. They're scrapping it out, you know.
So yeah, I think they fall out. I think they either fall out of the play-in, or even if they seem to stick around 9 or 10, they're more than likely going to have to play the Lakers, and they're more than likely going to have to play. Like to get in, they would have to beat anybody between the Lakers, Pelicans, Clippers, and Mavs.
That ain't happening.
And I'd come playoff time, come crunch time. Like Utah's had a great regular season, but come crunch time, I don't know.
I don't think their style of play is going to last. Like Jordan Clarkson in the playoffs, like I feel like as a 6-man, you know, he can do some stuff, but I feel like, you know, that the extra physicality of it, everything that comes with playoff basketball, I just feel like they might not be there yet.
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, those are all the teams that are kind of what I feel like are in the playoff bubble or play-in bubble, more specifically. But excuse me. Lastly, what I'll wrap up with is, so we talk a lot about the Lakers. I mean, another team that we haven't talked about as much, at least in this episode, is the Warriors. The Warriors have had their struggles this season. They definitely haven't necessarily played at the level that we saw them play last year.
Yeah.
But they also haven't been healthy a lot. this season. Like I think it came out that it was somewhat of a very serious personal matter, but Wiggins has been gone for some time. So it must be something extremely, extremely serious,
Yeah.
or personal that he's tending to. But he's been away. Steph just came back. Draymond just came back not too long ago. They still don't have GP2 back. And they don't know if he's going to be back. So, but they've been stringing together wins. Like up until the loss today, they've been putting together some really good wins against some teams that they were in the thick of being seeded with, and now they're kind of solidified in the middle of the pack right now. But
Yeah.
knowing what we know about the Warriors and talking about everything that we just referenced for the Lakers, if both teams were completely healthy, 100% healthy, which team is more dangerous?
Completely healthy. I feel like that's the Lakers
I agree.
because Anthony Davis, his whole thing is that he can't stay healthy. So it's got to be the Lakers. Like, I feel like we know what the Warriors can do at full health. They got a chip last year. They definitely can do it. It's continuity at this point. I feel like that's why they got GP2 back. So it's tough. It's splitting hairs, but I feel like, if Anthony Davis can stay on the court for 40 plus minutes for every game, I feel like that's important for them.
I agree. I think it comes down to this for me. So the Warriors are the defending champions, and they get that type of respect. And so no matter where they're seated, they still have the bullseye because they're the defending champions.
Yeah.
So no matter where they're seated, they're not going to be able to skate by just because they are a lower seed than we may have expected, right?
Yeah.
The Lakers have kind of been this team that, to a degree, people haven't really taken seriously. Like Bron is Bron. Nobody's questioning what Bron is going to do. But in terms of the Lakers being a legitimate threat, that was not the case for the majority of the season. If Bron is healthy, let's just even say Bron is 80 to 85%, right? But let's say AD is healthy. He's out there, he's playing, he's putting up the numbers that we expect him to put up. D'Lo's healthy. D'Lo's adding his 20 and 7 or 20, whatever the case may be. And then you look at all the other role players: Reeves, Beasley, Vanderbilt, Gabriel, Mamba. Like when you look at their supporting Rui, like when you look at their supporting cast,
it's really good.
At full strength, from roster alone and from the little bit that we've seen when they're at health, they'd be in the middle of the pack right now.
100%. Yeah, 100% if they're at full health.
So I think that they would be more dangerous because there would be a little bit more of an element of surprise. And it would almost be a little bit too late for teams to try to adjust from a mental perspective because they're already coming and then they have Bron. So
yeah.
Like you said, it's still splitting hairs, right? Because the Warriors are the defending champions for a reason. And they still have Steph Curry, but I do think the Lakers are more dangerous, which is why I want them to make it. Because I want them to make it because I want it to. It would be an amazing. I would say it would be an amazing storyline for Bron if he does. Although we've helped write this script, they always write the script perfectly for Bron anyway. It would be very storybook.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. Go ahead.
Brief second, but like just hearing about just the NBA like writing the perfect script for him, I feel like that would be very ideal. Like that would be. I want to see Bron in the playoffs. NBA is always more fun when Bron's in the playoffs. Like, come on now.
All the stars have to be there, especially when the stars are on really good teams or on decent enough teams. Like if they're on a playoff team, like a team that's constructed to get there and be competitive. You want to see the stars do that. So yeah. But yeah, man, those are kind of some of the. I feel like we're in this space of the season where it's not. You can't really have too much playoff talk because there's no way to tell where the seeding is going to fall. But it's really about which teams are hitting their stride right now. Which teams have kind of Which teams have been impressive from the All-Star break? Which teams have do we see kind of finding it and like no within these last 20 games like it's gonna click, like it's coming, we see it. And so I think that's what we pretty much touched on this episode. But yeah, is there anything else from this stretch of the season or as you're kind of looking ahead to this last month that you think is just something to look out for or you think it's something that needs to be paid attention to?
We didn't bring up this team to possibly make the playoffs, but just look at OKC. I'd like their young team. I feel like they got some players like J Will and J Dub. Like they have an interesting team construction that I really like. And I think I'm forgetting which one is which. I think it's J Dub is the one with the 6'5" height and 7'2" wingspan that plays like damn near cleanup for them, like center in the back. Like they can make something shake too. I know that like they could slide out of it. I said that like we're kind of overlooking them when I was comparing Portland and them, but if they can string something together, Shea plays still at an all-star level like he has been, they're an interesting team that can, make something shake, I feel. So
they have a knack for winning. Well, I mean, Shea's been one of the better clutch players this year. And they have a knack for winning games that they're not supposed to win. So yeah. I would not be, I don't want to say I trust them, but I could count on them to be dangerous in a play-in situation, even if they have to win 2 games.
Yeah. They're really fun to watch.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun, man. The West is going to be fun to see because that's a little bit more packed than the East is right now. So yeah, it's going to be really fun to see. How that falls in the West. Last thing, just thought about it, just came to me. Who's your sleeper in the West? Who's your sleeper in each conference? I can say mine first unless you have yours.
To come out of it?
Huh?
To come out of it?
Not necessarily. I'm not saying you have to, put in your vote that they come out of it, but they're going to give teams hell. Like they're not going to be an easy out. They may get to the second round unexpectedly, or even the conference finals unexpectedly. Like they're that dangerous, but not necessarily that they'll come out.
Let me look in the East first because I feel like there's a team that this year,
I know my team in the East.
The Knicks in the East. I feel like that Jalen Brunson has been, but he's out tonight against Boston right now. But like they're a gelling team right now. When you talk about like winning at the right time, they're winning at a decent stretch of the season. If they can keep this in going into the playoffs, I feel like they've kind of been like the memed team for a little bit, bing bong, all that good stuff. But I feel like they honestly might make something shake in the playoffs this year. Last year was kind of like a fall off season for them. So I feel like they bounce back stronger this year. So who's yours for the East?
The Nets.
Mikal's playing great right now. Yeah.
They unleashed a different type of dude over there, man.
Yeah, he's balling. I mean,
nobody used to talk about him for his, not that he wasn't skilled, but nobody expected offensive explosions.
And he's 19 points in the first quarter, 9 for 9. What?
He's very capable. Like he's doing this on a nightly basis.
Yeah.
Was very impressive against Boston. Was having an impressive game today, but they have when the trade first happened, I said this. I said they have a squad. Like they just have hoopers. And they have pieces. Like they're gonna be a tough out. And it's not like the guys over there don't have playoff experience. Mikal Bridges has been to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson has been to the NBA Finals and played and were major parts of it. Spencer Dinwiddie has been in the playoffs. Like Nick Claxton has been in both those playoff runs with Katie and Kyrie.
So it's like they've been there. They know they're
not a team that lacks experience.
Yeah.
So they
Ben Simmons figures out his whatever.
They can be dangerous. I feel like they're gonna give one of those top teams fits.
Yeah, and for the West, I'm gonna go with the team I just brought up. I think the Thunder, you said it, in a play-in situation, they match up pretty well with teams. They're a funky team in terms of construction, but I think they know what they're doing in terms of like where they want guys to fit on their perimeter and like what function they serve, and I think they're all pretty multifaceted. They can, compete with teams on the boards even when they're undersized, and even defensively, like really get tips and deflections a lot too. I like their style in terms of like getting up and down, and they're really methodical on offense. And I feel like they can maybe make some shake in the first round, but that's maybe as far as they go.
Yeah, that's fair. My team out the West in regards to that is still Sacramento, which is crazy, right? Because they're third. Even though I think they may sneak and get to second. But the thing is, I think Sacramento is like still underrated. I think they're still somewhat flying under the radar. So I think that they'll actually. I think the first round they put whatever. I mean, it'll be interesting to see who they get, but I don't think they appreciate being looked at as like a 3 seed that's going to get knocked off.
100%. Yeah.
2 seed is going to get knocked off. Like they're taking a lot of that personal, which I love. So I think that for like the teams that actually like that have the people think, oh, if the Lakers get in, they're going to. I don't know if the Lakers play the Kings, that's going to be like the Kings aren't backing down. Like just because the Lakers are healthy and Bron is back, like the Kings feel like they belong. So I think the Kings are going to ruin some contenders season.
I think you might be right. I think you might be right on that.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what that looks like because I'd have to look at their roster. I mean, Barnes has experience, Herter has playoff experience, but Fox doesn't have a lot, even though Fox has had an amazing season. Sabonis a little bit. I think a little bit.
Indiana.
Very small amount though. But so I don't know how much of a role that plays, but
it's something.
It's something. It's something to keep an eye on for sure. They're not going away for anybody lightly. So
100%.
So yeah.
That is the quote of the day. 100%. You've been right all episode.
Well, man, yeah. If you're not watching basketball for this next month or so, the last month, you're really missing out. I think it's going to be a lot of really, really good basketball, a lot of really competitive basketball down the stretch. So yeah, I'm excited, man. But yeah, that's all we got for y'all this week. But we will definitely be back next week. And as these games get more competitive, as the seeding starts to switch around, we're always going to have something to say about it. And we're always going to be right. 100%. So until next week, we'll see y'all next time, man.
Peace.